Hey there, gang. I wanted to show you something that I sort of just discovered that maybe you'd be interested in. I stumbled on it by accident. However, it was something that I'd been thinking about for a long time. I just didn't want it to become a science project. Like you'll hear some artists like, oh, well, I wanted this to connect to this, and then it would go to that, and then they'd both be triggering each other. And I'm like, oh man, yeah, that's not where I wanted it to go. I wanted it to be kind of organic. And I always try to concentrate on just playing. I think that should be obvious from some of my videos. All right, so let's just, first of all, the most important part is a new chair. Hag, a Norwegian, hell yes, a Norwegian chair, right? It's a Hag Capisco. I'm telling you, you have back problems, you have any problems, this chair will fix your problems. The black one I had sort of imploded. I leaned back and this part was loose on the black one. I had tightened it, but something else was loose from 5 years, 6 years that I've owned it. They have a 10-year warranty, but I found a place locally that will replace the piece underneath, the metal piece, for me, do all the work and get the piece for $300. So I was like, do it. But in the meantime, I need a chair, and that's going to take a couple weeks to get the replacement. So new chair. Norwegian technology. Okay, so let's go to the important part. All right. So these improvs I've been doing with, for the silent film, which is When the Sky Clears was the first half, and The End of the Wind, because the original Lillian Gish film was The Wind. We're all done on this. That's it. And in fact, the Poly Trails only came in for the last piece. Before that, I had the B-Tronics BBD in this place. It might have been flipped with the mood. And then before that, I had something else. Can't even remember what it was, but I had something else there. I really like the Poly Trails because it can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different effects, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right now it's on the micro looper, but I love the sympathetic strings. I love the ringing bells sympathetic setting. Those are the first two, so sympathetic, the bells. And the prairie is like a tape warp delay thingy. There's a lot of goodness in it, so it's going to stay. It's going to stay. And everything's working great together. The TOPD, this is the low gain version. That's the first thing in the loop. I have the loop function on for the GT1000 Core. This is a true valve, true tube overdrive boost. Now, but like I said, this is the low gain. It's just at the gain at 0, we're talking unity. However, it does have some dip switches that allow you to affect the EQ in ways. I love it. So to me, this can do everything. Well, maybe not everything, but most everything I need it to do. Believe it or not, this cheap Octopus by, who makes this? VSN. That thing is an incredible octave device, the low octave. It's so think, the Electro Harmonix family of, the octaves. Unbelievable. I love that. And then the Syntax Error. I should do a video on the Syntax Error and the Old Blood Noise Dweller, because those are two of the most valuable and undersung maybe underdog effects, but we'll get to that at some point. But I always need that. I love the mood. If you haven't tried the Dabo, this is the Dabo by Butterfly Effects. Oh my God. I sort of blew it up during take 5 of the second half of the End of the Wind project. During the last song, number 5, I blew it up. I hit it with a little too much gain, and I think that's what did it. I'm not sure. But, they're so cool. Vic at Butterfly is so cool. He sent me a new daughter board. I popped it in like that, done. And so that's what I did the entire album with. I did the first 4 songs from When the Sky Clears on the Fender ToneMaster Pro, but the last 5 from The End of the Wind were all this. Okay, so I got to thinking, what could I do better? What else do I want? And, I like to play around with stuff. But like I said, I didn't want it to be a science project. Oh, and let me also say that Kevin Wilson is the wah master. If you want the best wah in the world, this is his 12-position wah. Unbelievable. I love wah. I got to have it. I've tried them all. There's nothing better than that. Okay, so let's get back to the story. So what happened was I had, my wife went to America to deal with the sale of our house. And I had ordered some stuff for her to bring back, used, got it off, mostly off of Reverb. And one of those things was the Zoya. I was really, really, really into Zoya when it first came out for a few years afterwards as well. I love it. But I fell out of love with it because it was a little fiddly. I don't know. I got frustrated with it, I guess. And maybe I shouldn't have. However, I remembered I was going through some old files, and there were some files that Christopher Jakes, who's by far the Obi-Wan Kenobi of the Zoya. If you ever watch his videos on YouTube, it'll blow your mind what that guy could do with the Empress Zoya. And he helped design a couple of patches for me. And I checked patch storage recently. And there have been some crazy advances as well as firmware updates, etc. for the Zoya. And I tried some of the new stuff. I'm back in love with it. And I think I can deal with it better now. I've grown up. I'm big now. I'm big. So anyway, once I incorporated that, I picked up the new Source Audio Encounter, and I actually got it to do whatever modulation plus reverb that I couldn't get on the Zoya, or mix and match to use in conjunction with. And boy, oh boy, that started working great. And then the Compadre may be one of the, if that's not one of the top 10 pedals of all time, boost, compression, and you can run your volume pedal out of it. That's crazy. So all of this started coming together. I'm still waiting. This space is for the Chase Bliss Lost and Found. I like the resonator and the Gen Loss and some other things in there. I ordered it like 2 months ago. God knows when it'll be here, but my guess is within the next couple of weeks. But that's just a guess. I started seeing some people getting them. And the Ryman's Grave, man, Discomfort Designs is one of the best boutique small builders in the world. What he's got going on here, this side is a bit crusher distortion, and this side is a stereo filter. And separately, they're great, but together, they're unbelievable. So, and he makes, everything he makes is just stunning, genius, brilliant, and makes you better. So Discomfort Designs, I had to wait quite a while until he did the V2. This is the new V2, but fortunately was able to get that sent to Nashville before she came home. And I'm a big proponent of the Zoom pedals, these Zoom multi-effects, because, and this is the MS50G Plus, and I have a couple of MS50Gs. I have the MS70 CDR. What I love about them is you can have 6 effects going at once, and you tweak the heck out of them. They sound amazing. And the MS70 CDR and the MS50G, the original, you can control with an app. This one, not so much. That is the one drawback of this so far, in my opinion. But there are effects in this that aren't in the other one, and it's easier to scroll up and down with different parts of your patch than the old one was. But hey, so putting this all together, and I can't wait for that new Chase Bliss Lost and Found, I just started messing around with it. And I was playing after finishing the wind, the silent film stuff. And I'm like, wow, this all sounds really good. This really sounds good together, this whole thing. And man, can't wait till I get the Lost and Found. And then I was like, oh, but let me test it. Let me test it up against this and see which one I like better, right? Well, I didn't have to, because I realized I had a Gig Rig Humdinger. And I could take the output from the lap steel, go in and split one to this board and the other to this board. And together, and this is before the Chase Bliss Lost and Found, together they sound flippin' incredible. But that opens up another can of worms, because now I can record in stereo on 2 separate tracks. And that's cool, because when you record in mono, one of the things that's tricky is, it's not that hard to make it sound wider and deeper and whatnot, but it's a hell of a lot easier when you got 2 different boards that sound different, but you love the way they sound. So I'm really looking forward to that. I can't wait to show you how this all works. I think I'll wait till the Lost and Found shows up. And then there's one more aspect, which you've seen me do before and heard me do, is so I can do this in stereo, left and right on 2 separate tracks, right? But then I've also got this, right? The Boss SY-1000, all set up to go from my lap steel. So I can actually have 4 tracks. These 2 going, which at the same time, the same absolute tactile technique and touch, and split them left, right, and then have the SY-1000 at the same time. Now with the SY-1000, this is an 8-string lap, right? It's an 8-string lap steel. If it were a 6-string, I would get all 6 strings to have probably trigger it pretty well. Maybe not as well as a regular guitar, but you can tweak the software so that, the distance, quote unquote, the distance between the string and the contact in the app, in the software, so that you can make as many strings, and in this case, it's 6 out of the 8, get contact with the software and the sounds in the SY-1000. It's a little tricky because Not every sound responds to slide. That's in the SY1000. That's something I've discovered. And not every string responds. It's weird. You'd like be like, oh, well, it'll be the middle 6, right? No. Sometimes it's this 6. Sometimes it's this. Sometimes, it's just weird. But I'm really looking forward to doing these 2 boards on some improvisations and then adding this in at the same time and just seeing where it goes. To me, anything this does is just extra texture. That's how I've used it in the past. So I just wanted to give you that little glimpse, little look-see about how this all evolved after the silent film project, and probably in the next week or so, I might not even wait for the Lost and Found. I reached out to them. They don't know. But like I said, some people have started getting them. But maybe I won't wait. Maybe I'll put something else there, or maybe I'll just go ahead and do an improv for you all so you can hear it, because I think it could be pretty interesting. Anyway, that's where my head is at right now, and thanks for watching. If you have any questions, do let me know. If you have any questions about individual effects, let me know. And if you want me to do a Q&A at some point, by all means, let's do it. Happy to. Let it rip. All right, thanks. See y'all later.